Hey Dee, do you know how sometimes we watch those videos of guys mowing overgrown lawns and watch how they edge and trim and mow and make it all perfect?
My favorite part is when they scrape up the sidewalks. All the gunk that has gotten there and they throw it back onto the lawn, which will really help the lawn. But yes, well, sometimes we watch these.
So on Instagram, since I watch those guys mowing, they have really fun fun episode. I can't even talk. Galloping Goat
Videos.
Pumpkin Patch on Instagram. So they go, and I think they're in the Southwest. They go to these places that are completely overgrown. They bring in like 125 goats. They leave them overnight.
Okay, I'm looking them up.
The goats eat stuff until they go to bed at night, and then they wake up in the morning and they eat, and they are just hilarious. And the
So
most recent
galloping
Galloping Goat Pumpkin
goat.
Patch.
That's funny. I just like the name of it. Okay, I'm following. I can't
Okay,
wait
so
to watch.
the last one they went into a cemetery in New Mexico, which the volunteers used to keep weeded, but with
Mhm.
various things it just got out of control, and so somebody donated enough money for the goats to clean up like a fourth of it. So the goats went into the cemetery and just ate, and I mean, they clear an area.
Yeah, they eat everything. That's
And
why
I,
you don't want to own goats if you have a garden unless you have a really good high fence.
so I do have two other goat things to talk about before we get to this episode.
Okay.
First is at the end of the street ends in a pasture,
Yeah,
and
no.
so they have goats, and sometimes the goats are in that first pasture, which is kind of fun. But then anyway, then somebody else, and I will not tell you who because I don't want to, I don't think they listen or anything, but someone I know decided that she wanted two goats.
Uh-oh.
And
I
so
did that once, long time ago.
she got two goats and they immediately went over and started eating all her hydrangeas. And so she said
Sure.
she texted her mom, and her mom's telling me the story. She said she's texting me like, this is all your fault. And she's like, I didn't buy goats. And she says, you're supposed to stop me from buying goats. So they lasted
That's
about
funny. So I have a story about goats. I bought two miniature goats, not as miniature as they make them now, but they were small goats and pygmy goats. And so I had them for exactly one day. Be-
exactly.
because, well, no, they left me. I didn't get rid of them. They left me. Like they started knocking on my back door. They got up on the deck and they started knocking on the door, and I wouldn't let them in the house, and they took off. I don't know where they went. This is like 30 years ago.
Anyway, well, we could make this a goat podcast, but it is
No, we
gardening,
better
so
go.
I'm going to start us. Welcome to the Garden Angelus, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about a third of an acre.
And occasionally we talk about goats. I'm Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country.
We are Garden Angelus because we love gardening and we want you to love it too.
Yes, we do. And we aren't afraid to tell all of our gardening secrets, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. But let's move on to this week's episode. Let's do our garden updates. Carol, you go first.
Well, it has gotten hot again,
It's
but I
hot.
did, it
Yeah.
is hot.
Yeah.
So I managed to mow and trim the lawn yesterday. I started like at 8:30, which I thought was kind of early, but I think most of the neighbors were up.
Nah.
Um, I also picked some veggies through the week, more peppers, green beans, cucumbers, mostly cherry tomatoes. The big ones are just taking their slow pokey time. I've
No,
been
mine too.
watering like a maniac. I also fertilized containers on Saturday, and I cut back some of the petunias. They weren't doing great anyway, so I cut those back to see what would happen. And that, summertime, the living is easy, sort of.
Yeah. Sort of. It's hot. It's really
Yes.
hot and it's humid here. It rained again last night. I don't know how much we got,
We
but I
didn't get
woke up
rain.
at 4
I
a.m. and
watered
I
this
thought,
morning.
I water anyway. Well, not all spring, but normally I water. I woke up at about 4 and I heard rain on the skylights and I thought, really? That's what I thought. Really? In the end of July? That seems odd. But then I went back to sleep. I fertilized all of my pots finally because they needed it. and I cut all of them back, and things look really, really bad because between the cutting back and the grasshoppers, which are eating my cannas, it's not pretty out there right now, but you know what? I don't care. One of my clients wrote me today and showed me something on her hydrangea. She listens to us, so I'm not going to out her. And she said, "Dee, what's wrong with this? Is it rust? Do I need to spray, or is it just hot, dry wind?" I said, "It's hot, dry wind. Don't look at it."
That solves a
That's
lot of plant problems. Just don't look at it.
Don't look at that section. Go look at something that looks better. Let's see what else. I also you're
Uh,
gonna huh?
I want to hear about I'm reading it and I want to hear all about your Blue Lake green beans, Dee. How are
Oh, my
those growing
blue.
for you?
Okay, so first I planted Provider in one of the hot boxes, right?
Right?
And the deer got to them, so they're slow to put on green beans, but they're starting to. And then 2 weeks later, I planted Blue Lake. But when I bought Blue Lake, I didn't look at the package, and they're pole green beans instead of bush green beans, and they're in a pot, and there are peppers behind them. So I screwed up. So that's part of the ugly. There's been a lot of ugly in my update. So they're twining, they're growing tall and twining, and of course they're not producing any flowers because that's what they do. And then to make myself feel better, I went and planted some red zinnias, and I planted another variety by Burpee, I think, called Fruit Bowl. And I do this until the end of July because then I always have them coming on.
Right. Right.
And then I moved a bunch of them that were all clustered in one area. And then I put cages over them because I have crows, and the crows love to eat the seedlings. Now, would you suggest moving some zinnia seedlings in July? That's where
No,
you
I
say
would
no.
not. That's not the time. Like
That's
we
crazy town, right?
That's
But
D
I did
town.
it, but I do it anyway because I'll watch them and I'll water them, and then I'll have zinnias where I want them.
That's good.
And you have to watch them carefully if you do that sort of silliness, and have good soil and put a lot of mulch on them. The end. What's your
The
favorite?
end. My favorite this week, I'm going to stay, since we're doing the letter S, I'm going to stay on point, as they say. My favorite is these volunteer sunflowers that came up in this one little
They're
spot.
pretty.
I put a picture on Instagram, the
Mhm.
flower border of the vegetable garden cathedral, and they are blooming like crazy. And we'll talk more about sunflowers because I had bought sunflower Steve's seeds. So they got to be coming up with that, but I've never seen them like multi-headed like that. So then I'm thinking, well, maybe they cross with concert bell, which I was growing all anyway. And then
Mhm.
I was talking to
Or
the
it could
neighbor.
just be a piece of seed that was a seed that was dropped by your birds, because I
That
get
could
those a
be,
lot from those. In
yeah,
fact, Bill mowed the pasture across the street, which is ours. He mowed it, and he mowed around all of those volunteer sunflowers for me.
nice.
Isn't that sweet?
My
He's pretty
neighbor
sweet.
2 doors down has a volunteer sunflower also, and I was talking to him yesterday, and he says, I don't know where this came from. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, who feeds the birds? Who grows sunflowers? I just said, look, if anything weird comes up in your yard and you don't know where it came from, just assume it came from my garden.
Probably
Unless
came
you
from me.
unless you don't like it, and then I don't know where it came from.
It came from the people down the street.
Yeah.
So my favorite this week is my purple fountain grass. I'm looking at it right now at the window, and it's the one thing that does look good in my pots. Looks really good.
Excellent. It always does.
It
I
does.
I haven't grown it in pots. My sister has, and she's just been uber impressed by it because it just
I
puts
mean,
on a big show.
it puts on a big show. You don't have to do anything to it. It's a great plant to put somewhere in your garden that you're like, I dug something out, but I don't know what to put there yet. I don't know what perennial I want. Plunk some purple fountain grass down in there. It'll look great in the middle of summer, all the way to frost. And
And
then you can
then,
just dig it out, and it's really easy.
right,
Unlike lantana, lantana is hard. Mexican heather, hard. Those are
not
hard
here.
things to dig
They're
out.
they're not here because they're not hardy here.
No, I'm talking about next year, next spring. The
Oh,
root
oh,
system is nuts.
oh, okay.
See,
Yeah.
when you want to put the perennial in or
Right, right. You got to
another
watch those
annual.
grasses. They'll sink a root in.
So will lantana. But you don't
Lantana
grow
is
lantana.
no, it's not. It's not hardy
No.
here.
Well, it's not hardy here either unless you do new gold. It's hardy, but it's ugly. Nobody grows it.
Nobody
All right,
grows it.
ready? Question of the week. I'll
Yes.
read it. You answer.
Okay.
Ready? Hi, Dee and Carol. I really enjoyed that Q episode. Thank you. A few comments. Where can I see the elephant ear Dee mentioned? Well, if Dee would take a picture, you could see it. I have Japanese beetles in Georgia I think for the first time in years. Horrible things. Thank you for the information on the Queenie Lime Orange Zinnia being easier to grow. I have not had success with Queenie Lime, but I will try the orange now. I really like to use Queen Anne's lace in arrangements, but I just pick it from the side of the road. I also try to grow dill, but they struggle for me. I did get a few flower heads that I've picked and used in arrangements. I love walking by and smelling the fragrance of the dill. Are there other I love the word umbel, flowers you can suggest? Finally, thanks so much for the smile you put on my face as I listened to your podcast while driving. That's from June. Well,
That's really
gosh,
nice.
June. Okay, you're going to answer the umbel question.
So the unbuilt question is, yes, there are things like Ami green mist, and there's bronze fennel. I have bronze fennel. I also have green fennel. I also have dill. I have all three back there. And I'm pleased to report that the swallowtail butterflies, not butterflies, caterpillars were on them last week or this past week. So that's good.
Did you mention the purple Dara that
No, I
we could
didn't.
grow?
Purple Dara.
Yeah, I can't remember what its cultivar name is, but just look up Dara and you will find it because it's really popular right now with flower farmers. I will say it's hard to get both of those going unless you start them ahead of time and transplant them out. I have 5 plants growing right now and they're still not blooming. I think they're in a little too much shade.
And
I'll answer the elephant
well,
ear
I
after
want
you're
to say
done.
something about picking Queen Anne's lace from the side of the road.
Be careful.
Be very, very careful because hogweed is terrible in maybe in more northern areas, but
It
it's
is.
you'll end up with blisters and all things on your skin because it is really bad news and it looks a lot like Queen Anne's lace.
I mean, all that carrot stuff looks the same, wild
And the
carroty.
poison hemlock, like we said before, it'll have a reddishness
Mhm.
on the stem. Also, bad juju on that one. So I would be really careful picking Queen Anne's lace from the side of the road. Although,
I don't think I've ever seen hogweed here, but that doesn't mean anything. I would have to like look at it. I've seen Kathy
yes,
Purdy write about it before
up
because
in
it's really serious.
upstate New York. Yes,
Hmm.
you got to really know that stuff.
Okay, so the reason I have the name of the elephant ear is Redemption. If she wants to look it up online or anybody else, I found it at Under the Sun in Edmond. Under the Sun is an interesting place. They get really weird things in, and
Cool.
yeah, it's a really cool place, and they never know anything about the plants they have. They don't know that they have really cool things, and so I'll walk through there, and because I know plants really well, I'll go ding, 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 that's a different elephant ear, and I just grab it. The average person would just go in there and get their, begonias probably. And they had like 7 different varieties of begonias this year. It was interesting. So that elephant ear is very tender. It's in the middle of my pond. The monsoon rains have tried to ruin it, and it has huge leaves, but they're very thin. It has a
Uh-huh.
red stripe down the middle. I will be taking it into the greenhouse this year because it's pretty special and it's already in a pot. So
Cool.
redemption.
All right. Well, I think we've answered all our questions. I am going to um, do a quote and we're going to talk about flowers.
Okay.
The lesson I have thoroughly learnt and wish to pass on to others is to know the enduring happiness that the love of a garden gives. And that is from Gertrude Jekyll, 1843 to 1932.
So our flower this week, we're doing S, the letter S, and there were so many things to choose from. We could have chosen, salvia, but we decided not to because we've done salvia like crazy last year. So you chose first scabiosa, which I have to say, I love scabiosa, pincushion flower. It does not love me. It does not love my
Oh,
garden. It will grow pretty well, but then it like blooms itself to death and I've done it over and over again. But tell me how it does in your garden.
well, it doesn't do anything in my garden because I don't have it.
Mm.
I have grown it I think in my very first house garden, I had some Scabiosa, some pincushion flower, but I have not grown it. So I can't
I
really
mean,
speak from
it just,
experience.
I would call it a short-term perennial. And if I remember right, it comes in kind of a purpley pink, a blue, which is the most popular, and a white.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm looking
I,
at the Missouri Botanical Garden site for Scabiosa, and you are spot on. Lavender to blue, occasionally white, full sun, tolerates some dryness. D, it tolerates deer.
well, there you go. I really can't grow up very well. Can we move
But
on to
it,
sunflower?
yeah, we can because the other thing about Scabiosa that it says is it does not tolerate high heat or humidity. So that's the
Maybe
end of
why
that.
might be why it dies here. All right, sunflowers. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you my sad story about sunflowers this year. I planted sunflowers 4 times and didn't get one.
That happens because the seedling is a very delectable delight to many critters, and birds will pick them out. I think a lot of things will eat those.
Yep. And what I should have done is I should have gotten out my wire cloches faster, and I did not, because usually I just put them down and they grow and everybody's happy, right? But
Right.
not this year. So and I will put a link in the newsletter to those garden cloches. They are not cheap. There's a cheaper option. Okay. What you can do is go to the dollar store and they have those little metal mesh trash cans
I've heard
that are
this.
about this high, 12 inches, I guess, 12, 18. And you can put those upside down over them and it works too. You can also put cloth over old lampshade frames. There's a lot of things you can do, but I like pretty, so I buy these little garden cloches.
Well, I will say this about sunflowers. They are easy to grow if you don't have critters eating up all the seedlings. And the way you
They
might
are.
avoid that is to try to start them indoors, but generally you direct sow them. And
Mhm.
my like this year, I did not direct sow any sunflowers. In the past, and we talked about last year, I grew concert bell, which was
Yep.
very pretty, and it's an all America selection. They sent us seeds. And then a
Yep.
couple years ago, we ordered sunflower Steve's seeds. I love those.
I do too, and
And
he's got new ones. I mean, he has really, really changed things since
yes,
we bought some. I think I will buy some next year, and then I will
well,
grow them in my greenhouse, and then I will take them out and
I
transplant
I
them.
don't know what's going on with this volunteer one, but it is an
It's
amazing
pretty.
multi stems, all kinds of flowers, big ones. And I'm like, I'm keeping that.
I don't blame you.
I'm just gonna
So
let it self sow.
remember,
I'm gonna let it drop seed and see what happens.
it'll self-sow because remember I mean, 2 years ago, can't believe it was only 2 years ago that we had the giant fire. And
Uh-huh.
then in 2024, the following year, those sunflowers were everywhere. And the whole neighborhood talked about how beautiful they were and how they gave us all hope. And I think sunflowers are a really hopeful plant.
They are. I love them. And then I looked on the All America site again. They have one called the Ring of Fire, which I think was the first one that had like the yellow petals, but really red around the center.
Right. And then they also have that Suntastic Yellow with black center. That has been really popular in at least my part of Oklahoma this year. Home Depot has sold it in pots.
Well,
And
that
it
one
has
only,
just done really, really well because it stays small.
yeah, it says 20 inches tall. I've
Yeah,
seen
it's
that
not very,
too, where it comes out kind of, they start selling it like now, and it makes a really
yeah.
nice, as we said, easing into fall kind of, you need to freshen up a pot, then that's a good one to add in there.
Yeah, it's an accent plant, which is really, really pretty.
But you talked about sunflowers make you happy. I about 30 years ago, and this would have been at my second garden, I had a bed that was, I don't know, 4 feet wide and 12 feet long,
Yeah.
and I bought at the time a dozen different kinds of sunflower seeds, and I
Oh, how
just planted
fun.
them all in there, and it was really nice. If I have pictures of that, they are on film, and so
Wow.
that's how long ago it was. It would
That's
have
a long
been
time
in the
ago.
90s, and
Hmm.
it would be um I would have to find a snapshot of it somewhere. I'll have to look for that.
Hmm.
That's on my
How
winter list
interesting.
to go through all these photos and get them all organized and pitch the
Okay.
ones that are stupid.
Okay,
And
you said it out loud as you like to
oh
say.
no.
Oh no.
Okay,
Okay,
what?
so
Two
our
more,
next
two
one
more.
is
Go ahead.
status. Status is really, really, really popular, especially now because it's great in flower
It
arrangements.
is.
It's great dried too.
It kind of, in my opinion, is sort of like you pick it and it's already started drying out.
Yeah, pretty much. It pretty much does. And it has very straight stems. They're gray blue. I've grown it before. I don't
Yeah,
find it that hard to grow.
I've grown it a long, long time ago, and again, it was at my second garden, and I just got a burr in my saddle, and I started growing all these kinds of flowers that would dry really easy, and status was on the list, and actually back then I put together a little talk about it, and gave
Oh,
it
how
before I
cool.
was any kind of a gardener or whatever. I gave a talk to one little group, but anyway, um,
That's fun.
you'll have to buy seeds because the plants are never for sale. You don't go anywhere and find status. Unless it's that
No,
there's a perennial one that's kind of white. I don't know which one that is.
I don't
Yeah,
either.
I don't either. I don't even why I brought it up because I don't know anything about it.
You know what? If people want to Google it, you've given them the chance.
Yeah, there is. It's kind of a white color. But anyway, I do like status and it'll keep forever. In fact, this is kind of morbid, but I have some status that was in some kind of arrangement for my mom's funeral, which I think was what year was that? 20.
15 years ago or something. It's a
Yeah,
long time.
I have to think about that. Anyway, I think it was 2013. Don't quote me. My sister will listen to this and she says, "You got the year wrong when mom died."
Oh no. You know what? I can't. I can't tell you exactly when my mom died. I think it was 2022,
Oh,
but it might be. I'm sure it was 2022. But
might have
dang,
been 20. It was 2013, I think. But anyway, I still have some status from a arrangement that's stuck in a vase in the china cabinet. Because the thing about status is it never shatters, or it rarely
no,
shatters, where it just like one day says, "I'm
it
done,"
just
and drops
no,
all
it
its
doesn't do
petals.
that. It just sits there. So if you get it in an arrangement for whatever, you can keep it if you would like to as a
Yeah,
dried flower.
yeah.
Saffron crocuses. I have no experience with them. This is all Carol. She
So
has
I have
quite the
grown
experience.
saffron crocuses,
Yes,
and it
yes, you
is
have.
they're fun to grow, and you would order them now. They would
Right?
ship them here soon, as they say. Get them right away into the ground, and they will flower yet this fall. And then you'll get those red anthers and that
Stamens or anthers,
or stigmas or whatever. Listen to us.
whatever it is.
You'll see
You
them
think we never
red
had
threads,
botany?
red threads.
Those little red threads in the center of the flower, but keep
Yeah,
going.
that's the saffron. And so, if you're lucky, they'll survive and come back the next year. But they really, I think what would probably cause them to say goodbye is if it was a really wet area, or if you put them someplace that gets really irrigated all the time. Where I have them, they're sort of in dry shade under a tree. And so a
Mhm.
few of them will come up or have come up for the last 3 or 4 years. Not enough for anybody to make a fortune on
Cook
because
with.
it is the world's most expensive spice, but
And now you know why, because it has to be hand gathered and
hand
dried.
gathered.
And
Yes.
it's only a few. How many per crocus? Did you
Three.
counted three?
Three.
That's not much. So
No.
when you have to buy saffron, now you know why it's so expensive and why some people just because it makes dishes yellow. It also imparts flavor, but makes them yellow. So a lot of people use turmeric instead because it's a
Yes.
lot cheaper. But the color is different and the taste is different.
And
Okay, we've
it's
exhausted
also
that topic.
well, it's also nice to have basically a purple crocus blooming in the fall because I always think that makes the neighbors think, huh, what is
That
she
just gives
doing over?
bunnies something to do here.
Yeah, they will eat those. They will eat that foliage quickly.
Yeah, they will. I'm down on bunnies right now too. All right,
Goodness
ready for the next
gracious.
quote? I know
Yes.
it's been a whole edible feast for the animals this year. In summer, the song sings itself. William Carlos Williams. I love that quote.
Yeah, you could cross stitch that on a pillow, Dee.
I could if I could still cross stitch. I think my hands are too bad.
Uh,
But boy, back in the day, I was a cross stitching fiend.
oh yeah, back in the day. I still
It's
do
a
a little
long
bit.
time
I
ago.
try to do a little bit. I try to, keep your hands limber.
Yeah, because you got to. All right, shallots. Shallots are very easy to grow.
Yeah. Just grow them exactly like onions. You would start them from seed indoors, probably 4 to 6 weeks, plant
Mhm.
them out. And like we talked about with onions, you think these little things, so tiny and grass-like, but they'll take a hold.
They grow and then you have full shallots, which are really cool and easy. I think they're easy to grow.
Yeah. And then we both grew, I think last year, creme brulee is an
Creme
All-America
brulee.
selection, the only shallot on the All-America selections list.
And then you brought up Swiss chard, which I absolutely dislike the taste, but I occasionally eat it. But it is the most beautiful plant in the
Yes.
vegetable
Yes.
garden next to the Chinese red mustard. I think it's really beautiful too.
Well, I've grown Swiss chard thinking I would eat that, but I never get to the point of eating it. And so I grow it for the pretty stems if I grow it at all.
It's in my book. There's a picture of it from my garden in my book because it is so beautiful. And of course, now they have, the regular white stemmed variety, or you can get ruby chard that's red all the way up to the leaf now. Or you
Right?
can get, you used to be able to get bright lights, but then they did a newer version because bright lights almost was all yellow. The yellow was predominant in the mixture, so they did a newer version of it. But you can still buy bright lights if you want to. And the thing is, you just direct sow it early. It's
Yep.
easier to grow than
It's in the
almost
cabbage
anything.
family. Huh?
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be as affected by cabbage butterfly larva as
No,
everything
it,
else.
it,
And
it
I
does
don't know
not.
why. Oh, you know why? Because they don't like the taste of it either.
Next, we'll talk about savory.
Mm.
And there are two
Have you
kinds.
grown savory?
I did once because I wrote an article for Indiana Gardening way back in the day when it was a print magazine, and it's gone. The website is gone. Everything is gone.
Mhm.
Um, so I did grow some after I wrote about it because I thought, well, I should. I
So
grew
I have
some
a question
anyway.
about Indiana gardening. Was it like Oklahoma Gardener
Yeah.
magazine? Was it part of that 9 state deal? I don't
Yeah, it
remember.
was the nine. Yeah, it was all the state by
Yeah, he
state.
over he over expanded his company and then he had some health trouble. And
Yeah, and then
so
he's
I
passed
used to
away and
write for
everything's
Oklahoma
gone.
Gardener.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But anyway, I put the botanical name on there so you could try to say it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's Saturareja or Saturareja, but I assume it's Saturareja montana or Saturareja hortensis. Am I
Yes.
close?
Yes, I think that's how I would say it. That the Saturagina, blah, 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 I can't even say it. The first one was winter, the second one was summer. And the only difference is the summer one is an annual, the winter one is a perennial.
Perennial. Mhm.
Most of the time when people talk about using savory, they are talking about using the annual savory. It's in the mint
I've
family,
grown
so
it. Yeah.
beware. It's in the mint family, beware. Have
Hmm.
you
But
used it
it's
in
an
cooking
annual.
then?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's delicious. I love savory.
They say it
Very
gives it a
good.
peppery taste. I never got around to the cooking part.
It wasn't real peppery, but it was delicious.
So
Okay,
anyway, it's an
sorrel.
interesting herb. Grow it.
Sorrel. Sorrel is lemony. It's easy.
Sorrel, we had a reader request this.
Oh, okay.
I think Jan.
So, oh, Jan did?
I think so.
Didn't she say that she grew it?
Yes. And she says it's in her climate, which is Oklahoma. It's a perennial that lives for several years and she can harvest it all through the year. I have never grown sorrel, so I don't know how it would overwinter here, but it's supposed to be super easy, low maintenance, very hardy. And they say if you want to use sorrel, it has a sharp tasting taste, like a
I
tart,
think it's
tangy flavor.
lemony. Yeah,
Yeah,
to me it's lemony.
they
And
used to
it's good.
use sorrel when they couldn't get lemons, like with, I think, of French cooking.
Yeah, I can see that. I grew it once. I guess I just never grew it again. I'm glad Jan brought it up. Jan's one of my clients, one of my garden coaching clients.
So anyway, if you in my climate, I think if I would have to give it winter protection.
I think you would too. Eden Brothers has the seeds, by the way, and we have an affiliate link with Eden Brothers. So if somebody wants to go over there and click on that link and then get to Sorrel, they can give us a little
You know
boost.
what? And I'm going to go over there and look to see if they have sorrel as microgreens because it seems like that's something they would.
I would think so. You can get an ounce or you can get a packet, which I bet an ounce is a lot of seeds.
Huh.
Very easy to grow.
Yeah, so
There
that's
you go.
sorrel, and people don't think about growing it. And I think it's also a pretty plant.
It is a pretty plant. It's a lovely shade of green, which is nice, right?
Exactly, nice. So I'll do a quote and we'll talk about the book if you're done with S vegetables.
I am done. I'm
Unless you
ready to
want to
move
talk
on to
about
books.
snap green beans and planting pole beans instead of bush beans again.
No, that's okay. One failure per episode or so.
Okay.
Should read packets. I know that. But I forgot. I forgot that blue light green beans also have pole beans, you
So
know?
I'm going to do the next quote and then you're going to say that I love that. And then I'm going to say you could cross stitch that on a pillow. I was up so tiptoe early that the flowers were all pearly as they waited in their places for the sun to dry their faces. Dorothy Aldous. And I now want to look up Dorothy Aldous and find out more about her.
I bet you she's another lost lady.
You know what?
A little lost lady poet. That's what she is.
I think she's probably British for some reason.
You think? Probably.
Oh no, no, I just looked her up. She's an
Who is
American
she?
writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1896 to 1966.
I mean, she's a poet and she didn't know it. She's doing that. What is that? Iambic parameter or
I
whatever
don't
it is.
know, but I'm
Iambic
looking at this
meter.
saying, huh,
I used to know all that stuff.
she's not a garden writer, but
Oh
she wrote
well, then we
children's
don't care
literature and
about her.
poetry. We do care about her.
Okay, let's go into the bookshelf. Enough of Dorothy.
She had
Uh-oh,
she had
we've lost
four kids,
Carol.
Mary, Owen, and twins Peggy and Ruth.
Okay, good to know. All right, our book this week is Herbs in Every Season. Hold up your book. 48 edible and medicinal herbs for the kitchen, garden, and apothecary by Bevan Cohen. And Bevan is a guy, in case somebody thought it was like a Beverly kind of name. And we got this book from, tell me,
Timber
Carol, you wrote
Press.
the email. Thank you, Timber
Timber
Press.
Press. We said, could we have review copies of that? Because Carol's into herbs this year.
And I found it at the library, and we both thought it was really good. And so we wanted copies. And it is really, really, really
It
good.
is. It is. And on the back it says, longtime herbalist Bevan Cohen offers readers at every stage of their herbal journey invaluable advice for integrating herbs in a holistic routine through every season. We do like
Yep.
the season thing.
We do. We love the season thing. And he tells you when to harvest them, when not to harvest them. He has beautiful, beautiful writing. There are a lot of things in here that you wouldn't think of herbs like ginkgo biloba.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it as an herb. I just think of it as a tree.
Yeah.
Um, I love autumn. After he shows autumn, which is chapter 3, he says, celebrating abundance in the season of transition. And it's all written in first person, which is unusual and
Yes, I
cool.
like that. It's like sitting down with him, as he walks through the garden or whatever. Another
Mhm.
unusual thing he included, D, was goldenrod.
He did. Bevan, by the way, I want to say really quickly that he is the owner of Small House Farm and he lives in central, did you say Michigan?
Michigan.
Yeah. And he's host of the popular Seeds and Weeds podcast. So, podcast listeners, here's a new podcast for you.
Yeah, and he only has episodes once a month because I think he's pretty busy. He's got many books
I
to
would
his credit,
think.
besides this
Yeah.
one.
He's really, and the pictures are beautiful. And if you want to know more about herbs, like let's just go over to violets because,
Oh, well, how sweet of you, Dee.
yeah, tell me what page they're on. I don't remember.
It's on the violets are over there, the last one of spring, and they're on page 65.
Thank you.
So for each one, he's got a little story, and then he talks about for the apothecary, so like the medicinal uses, and then he
Yep.
talks about how you would use it in the kitchen, and then how you would grow or gather the parts of the herb that you want. And then sometimes he's got a recipe, like in here, he's got a recipe for violet syrup.
I'm gonna make violet syrup next year because I now have tons of violets. I mean, the violets, if
Cool.
you let them grow in a small place, you will have violets everywhere before long, and I don't mind. I think they smell good and they make me happy. And I've actually turned this walled bed out here. The ground cover is violets. I
Right.
just let them grow, and then I have violets under a tree because he says violets tend to grow in full sun to partial shade areas. Yeah. They can be found along forest edges and near trees. Yes, they can. And so I love my violets and I will be making that. Anything else you want to say about violets?
Um, no, I'm good with that.
And then he talks about plantain too, which for the life of me, I could not ID for the longest time, but now I can. And as a beekeeper, when I was a beekeeper, all good beekeepers love the plantain because it makes a soothing salve for bee stings. Plus, it's a great bee plant. And then can we just talk quickly about roses? Because I want to read one line from
Well,
roses.
yes, I grant you the opportunity to talk about roses since you so graciously brought up violets.
So he says that what is most interesting, but what's most interesting to me about roses is the dichotomy they present. Delicate, joyful blooms perched upon sharply prickled stems, so soft yet so dangerous, alluring but guarded well. I think that he's a good writer.
He is a great writer. So let me tell you about his other books, Dee.
Okay, please
So
do.
I mentioned that I had seen his name before because he wrote the Grow Great Vegetables in Indiana. Do you remember when Timber Press came out with a book for every state?
Mhm.
So Bevan wrote, I think it's the same book, but he's got the one for Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Mhm.
So, and
Our friend
then
Marianne Newcomer wrote the one for the um,
Idaho.
Western, it was Idaho, but I think it was more than one state, but go ahead.
So his other books are, he's got one called the Heritage Pantry, Modern Methods of Preserving
Ooh,
Food the Old-Fashioned Way,
ooh,
The Complete
neat.
Guide to Seed and Nut Oils,
Ooh, neat.
The Artesian Herbalist, easy to use guide that teaches you how to identify, grow, harvest, forage, and craft herbal allies into an assortment of useful health and wellness products. And that won the 2022 International Book Award in Health and Alternative Medicine. And
Cool.
then he's got a book called Saving Our Seed, step-by-step process for saving seeds for 43 different crops. And then he's got one called From Our Seeds and Their Keepers, one of a kind collection of stories that is sure to inspire every gardener to take part in the ancient ritual of seed saving. But
Wow, he's quite prolific.
he is. And so that's probably why he only writes or does a podcast once a month.
I was thinking, when does he have the time? Because he's also making all this stuff.
And but I'll tell you what, herbs in every season. This is one for the bookshelf.
Yeah,
Love this
definitely
book.
keeping it, and I just love it. I read a little bit in it every night, and he's taught me things I didn't know, which
Oh
is
yeah.
always fun.
Yeah. So that people can look up the book and we'll put a link to bookshop.org and a link to Amazon. They can read the description and decide if this is a book that they want on their bookshelf.
Yep.
Because we love it. Love it to death.
Ready?
Yes.
It's no bad thing to celebrate a simple life. That's Bilbo Baggins from, I don't know if it's from The Hobbit or the next story, probably The Hobbit.
Probably The
S-
Hobbit.
So dirt. I'll do the dirt since,
You'll do
you
the
know.
dirt.
So we found this article and it was about alpha gal and it was in the Seattle Times. And at first I was like, why on earth is it in the Seattle Times? Because way out west, the Lone Star tick hasn't really become very prolific out there. But I then realized after a little bit that my friend Sage Scott from Sage Alpha Gal wrote this article and it was picked up by the AP. Good for Sage.
Yes.
And Sage is a very good writer. It is the best article I have read on AlphaGal. And she interviewed people because she has really good connections. She interviewed people who really knew what they were talking about instead of what usually happens. And so everything in that article is absolutely factual, unlike something that was sent to me by a, I don't know what you call it, a follower, I guess, on Instagram. There, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was not Oklahoma. It was a different state, and it was an extension specialist. And he was talking about alpha gal, and he had several things incorrect. And I was like, and a few incorrect things about ticks. But and she was like, maybe you want to share this with your followers. And I go, no, no, I'm not going
No,
to.
no,
I mean, some
didn't.
of what you said was good, so it'll be okay. So anyway, we're gonna link to that article in the show notes and in the newsletter. And I know you guys get sick of me talking about alpha gal, but it's a real problem. I saw today that the writer, John Grisham, John
Yes.
Grisham, he's had it since 2013.
Wow. Be
And
diagnosed that far back.
he wasn't diagnosed that far back. He had
Ah,
it and he kept getting sick, and he and his doctor together figured out that it must be meat. But it took a process of elimination, but it didn't have a name back then. And then
ah,
his wife also got it because guess where they're from? Virginia. And Virginia
ah.
is just full of it. So there you go.
There you go.
Do
So
the quote.
I will do a quote. The birds they sang at the break of day start again, I heard them say. Leonard Cohen.
Isn't that iambic pentameter? I don't
Uh,
know.
I don't
I mean, I
remember.
used to know that stuff,
That
but
was
and
like
somebody's
high
gonna
school
write us.
English.
Yeah, that's too long. It's so
That's too
long
long
ago.
ago.
All right, so are we at rabbit holes already?
Yes.
Okay, well, you go first.
So first, I'll do a little breadcrumb trail to
Okay.
an Instagram called Fox in the Forest. And this woman is in England. She takes vintage, like receipts, postcards, envelopes, and she paints little birds or mice or some little creature on them. And
Forest animals.
they
She's
are
really good.
adorable. And I sent you that link, and you're like, I'm in.
Yeah, I really want the one on corvids. Which for those who don't know, corvids are birds like crows and ravens, those darlings. And her work is so good.
Yes. And you can buy it as note cards.
Mhm.
And I didn't do a pounds to dollars conversion, but I'm assuming that she'll ship it to the United States. And then the original artwork is also for sale, but that is a much pricier proposition.
It is. It's really expensive.
But I
So
do like that. And then the other thing is I finished research on another Lost Lady of Garden Writing because it's every other week. It's a woman named Molly Price, and she wrote The Book of Irises, which I did not buy at the half price bookstore because it is available online. I just cannot own every book. It looks like I own
you
every
can't own
book.
every lost lady.
No. But I found out that she was the Dickens to find because Molly is not her given name.
Martha, right?
No.
No? What is it?
Olivia, Olivina,
Olivina?
Olivina
And they
Marion.
called her Molly?
Well, Olivina Marion
Okay.
Bradley was her birth name. And then sometimes she was out there with her stepfather's name because she had a stepfather. Anyway, I pieced it all together and I found her, and she grew up in Indiana. And then
Huh.
she taught botany down in Puerto Rico from like 1925 to 1926. And then she got married and they lived in the New York City area the rest of their lives, as they say.
Huh.
And
Well, I looked up Molly as a nickname, and Molly is a diminutive, which means little, a little version of the feminine name Mary. So Marian,
yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense. I've also heard it used for Martha before too. So interesting.
that was interesting. And she, she was a hoot in the articles that quoted her. I mean, this woman just spoke her mind. And she said, yeah, we moved out to the country because we didn't think New York City was a place to raise our kids. And she
Well,
said, once they were raised, don't you know, they just went right back there.
as they do. You do your best to protect them, and then they just do whatever they want to as adults. I would know
Exactly.
all about that.
She was kind of
Okay,
fun to
so
find.
I think she would be fun. I like the name Molly. All right, so mine is I'm using it could have been dirt, but we decided I could use it as my rabbit hole. Through Lucy on Instagram, I found this Wall Street Journal. She fortunately shared a gift link because I'm no longer a subscriber to Wall Street Journal. You can't subscribe to everything, and it's really expensive. So, um, it is about Giverny, but it's really long. That's why it's a rabbit hole. It took me 20 minutes to read it, and it has beautiful photos, and we have this gift link thanks to Lucy. So I will put it in the newsletter.
And I will say that reminded me of something else I spent way too much time exploring. I knew that the library offered magazines on the Libby app. And
Mhm.
so they're not as easy to find, but I found them and they have like 500 and you can subscribe and then they'll notify you when there's a new issue and it's not like you have to check it out. You can just start reading it. So like the first one on the list was New Yorker magazine. So it's free out there and Better Homes and Gardens. And there's a bunch of British gardening magazines out there. Garden and Gun magazine is on there. There's just a
Oh, that'd
ton.
be good because I love Garden and Gun,
So
but I
you
don't want
should
to
look
pay
on your
for it.
Libby app because I think this is every library has this. And
Good.
I was reminded of it because I wondered if like was the Wall Street Journal on there. Although I don't think they have newspapers, and I think of the Wall Street Journal as more of a newspaper.
Yeah, even though this is like what would be in New York Magazine because it's
Yeah,
so long, and it's called The Last Living Monet
yeah,
because it's, his later paintings came
right.
from his garden. It has a lot of video on it too.
So
So you
anyway,
get to
well,
see pictures and video,
maybe next
which is
week we'll talk
cool.
a little bit more about all those free magazines.
Maybe so.
So, garden
Okay.
commissions.
Mine's easy. I'm on repeat. I'm just
I
gonna make sure I've got all those little seedlings watered. I'm gonna keep on twining up my stupid Blue Lake green beans. I've got another garden coaching client. I forgot to mention I had one this past week and that was really fun. And yeah, just keep on keeping on. Summer.
So that's with me. Mow, water, weed, deadhead, repeat, harvest, all the things. I'm also starting to get estimates to replace my privacy fence, which is 25 plus years old, and that it had a 25-year warranty on it, and it's about ready to go. And every time we have a big wind, I'm like, please don't blow down. And I
Yeah,
had told my neighbors like 2 years ago that I was looking into it, and it's like, well, mañana, I'll do it tomorrow. But I'm getting an estimate in a week or two, and then I'll probably get another couple of estimates. But I want it done in the late fall because I think they can damage less in the late fall
probably.
because there's on my
Stuff will have
side,
died back.
yes, on my side of the fence, there's the whole flower border in the vegetable garden, and then I've got a whole bunch of shrubs on the one side. So that's going to take a little bit, but the rest is kind of free and clear. So, and it's clear on the neighbor's side. They've never like made a big bed and planted it or anything. So we'll see how this
Gotcha.
goes. We'll see how
A
this
lot of
goes.
work. I'm getting ready to get some carpet. So there you go.
There you
Shall we
go.
wrap this up?
We shall wrap this up. And remember, I did get one person that says they listen all the way to the very end. So no
Oh, well,
face.
that's nice of them.
Thank you for listening to The Garden Angelus. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time.
If you subscribe to our free newsletter, you get a link to listen to the podcast a whole day early and links to the products we discuss. Some of these are affiliate links. Plus, go over to YouTube and you can now see us in person, which I will never ever do. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays.
If you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we're in a small commission and it costs you nothing. And several of our listeners, Dee, have purchased some Cobra head weeders, which is very
Golly,
exciting.
yes, which is awesome. I love
Yes.
mine. We really, it's been a great affiliate link. Thank you all.
Yes. Thank
Or
you.
you can set up a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout, or you can make a one-time donation through PayPal.
Thank you to everyone who has done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody.